Alyssa Milano is fed up and she has a plan to get us good. In an effort to own conservatives, she's calling for a sex strike. But hello, her plan actually helps our cause. President Trump likens Mayor Pete Buttigieg to Alfred Neuman on Mad Magazine, and Representative Rashida Tlaib is getting called out for more outrageous comments. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, so check this out. Alyssa Milano is at it again. I guess this is her new calling in life. She feels that she should stand up for all things left-wing and say outrageous comments. And I think she has outdone herself this time. So she has a beef with Georgia's new heartbeat law. And this law says that abortions outside of some special, exceptions, outlaws abortion once a heartbeat can be detected in the baby. And this has her absolutely outraged. And she's calling for Hollywood to basically boycott Georgia. And for those of you that don't know, Georgia has become a prime location for filming of movies and TV shows and a Hollywood staple as far as shooting because their tax rates and their benefits are so low. So left-wingers, man, they love their tax breaks when it affects them, just not everybody else, I guess. All right, well, now she's up in arms, and she recently had some comments in The Wrap regarding the Georgia heartbeat bill, and here's what she said. Alyssa Milano has renewed her calls to boycott the state of Georgia, where she is currently filming the second season of Netflix Insatiable, after Republican Governor Brian Kemp signed legislation this week banning abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected as early as 6 weeks into the pregnancy. I will do everything in my power to get as many productions as possible, including Insatiable, to move out of this state, which continues to put forth oppressive, hurtful policy that contradicts everything the entertainment industry stands for, Milano said in a statement. All right, so apparently, the Hollywood stands for everything left-wing, nothing Christian, nothing pro-life. It's just funny that, she just assumes that all of Hollywood is like that. And I mean, in a lot of cases there are, but there are exceptions. But for her to just say this is how Hollywood should act, there is no way they should be involved in a state that does anything remotely pro-life is just outrageous. And here's some more comments from her in the New York Daily News. Prominent film executives say production companies will not shoot in Georgia in response to a recently passed anti-abortion law. Mark Duplass of Duplass Brothers Productions, Christine Vauchon of Killer Films, and David Simon of Blown Deadlines Productions each vowed to keep their businesses out of the state after Governor Brian Kemp on Tuesday signed a bill that will outlaw abortions if a heartbeat can be identified. That can happen 6 weeks into a pregnancy, often before a woman knows she is pregnant. Don't give your business to Georgia, Duplass tweeted. Will you pledge with me not to film anything in Georgia until they reverse this backwards legislation? All right, so this brings us to Friday, where Alyssa Milano had an epiphany. She figured out the best way to stick it to Georgia, stick it to conservatives, and just encouraging Hollywood and others to follow her lead. And here is what she tweeted. She said, "Our reproductive rights are being erased. Until women have legal control over their own bodies, we just cannot risk pregnancy. Join me by not having sex until we get bodily autonomy back. I'm calling for a sex strike. Pass it on." Okay, so think about that. She's calling for a sex strike. This is what she's telling Hollywood and her lefty friends to do, to really stick it to conservatives and get Georgia to reverse its law. But just think about that again. In an effort to try and own conservatives, her policy, her initiative, her sex strike actually helps prevent unwanted pregnancies and reduces the number of abortions. So, way to stick it to us, Alyssa. I mean, that really gets us good. I mean, it's just nuts. But of course, others have joined on. Actress Evan Rachel Wood tweeted this: "Mandatory vasectomies until you want to have children. They can be reversed. So, come on, guys, let's save lives." What's that? A hard no? Why? Because it's your body and we don't get to make that choice for you? Oh. All right, and to show how defensive the left has gotten because their policies have gotten so outrageous, that the president of Planned Parenthood recently tweeted this. All right, she is Dr. Leanna Wen, and she had to take to Twitter to actually write, "I can't believe I have to say this, but there is no such thing as infanticide in medical care. There is no such thing as an abortion up until birth." All right. So she is just flat out lying. And the reason I brought up her tweet is because their policies, like I said, in New York, tried to do in Virginia, they're getting so outrageous, and the comments have gotten so outrageous that they have to try and say that, oh no, we don't defend this. We don't believe in abortion up until the time of birth, which is exactly what is going on. Here's a report from CNS News. Dr. Wen did not mention, however, that more than 8,000 late-term abortions 21 weeks or later occurred in 2015, the latest data available as documented by the CDC. Also, the new abortion law in New York, signed by Governor Cuomo on January 21st, allows abortion up to the moment of birth. Okay, and in Virginia, as we covered, several months ago, Democrat delegate Kathy Tran tried to push a similar law to that of New York. And here's what she was caught on video saying during testimony. Take a look at this.
Where it's obvious that a woman is about to give birth. She has physical signs that she is about to give a birth. Would that still be a point at which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilating.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the doctor, the physician, and the woman would make.
I understand that. I'm asking
point.
if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
All right, so it's a big lie, and we all know it. But my thought is, if Alyssa Milano wants to do her part, and she wants to encourage other lefties not to have sex so that we have even more left-wingers in this country, man, have at it. Go for it. I encourage it. It's awesome. Great plan. All right, so to keep along with the outrageous, President Trump decided to jump in as well. And in an interview, he likened Mayor Pete Buttigieg, the South Bend mayor who's running for president on the Democrat side, he likened him to Alfred E. Neuman. And here's what Trump had to say. President Donald Trump dismissed Democrat presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg on Friday in a single sentence. Alfred E. Neuman cannot become president of the United States, the president told Politico in a 15-minute telephone interview when asked what he thought about the South Bend, Indiana mayor. Newman's freckled, gap-toothed face and oversized ears have for decades graced the cover of humor magazine Mad. So here's a side-by-side of Alfred E. Neuman and Mayor Pete Buttigieg. So take a look. What do you think? You be the judge of that. So in response, Mayor Pete had this to say.
Donald Trump today in an interview compared you to the Mad magazine mascot, said Alfred E. Neuman can never be president. What's your response to him?
So I'll be honest, I had to Google that. I guess it's a generational thing. I didn't get the reference. It's kind of funny, I guess.
And what's funny is, since Pete didn't get the reference, Mad Magazine decided to jump back with their own comeback. And here is what they said. Said, who's Pete Buttigieg? Maybe it must be a generational thing. So, you've got silliness on both sides, and President Trump can't help being President Trump. And so there you have it. Alfred E. Neuman equals Pete Buttigieg. But what's not funny, and what is outrageous, is some of the comments that Representative Rashida Tlaib said in a Friday interview. I mean, her comments along with Ilhan Omar, you really have to wonder who they represent. Do they represent America? They're elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, representing a district in the United States, and yet their comments seem so far out of line with anything that most Americans think. The anti-Semitism and just the far left rhetoric is outrageous. And guess what? She was at it again. And here's what she had to say. This is according to Fox News. House Republican leaders called on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to take action against Representative Rashida Tlaib, Democrat of Michigan, Sunday after Tlaib said that thinking about the Holocaust gave her kind of a calming feeling. There's always kind of a calming feeling. I tell folks when I think about the Holocaust and the tragedy of the Holocaust and the fact that it was my ancestors, Palestinians, who lost their land and some lost their lives, their livelihood, their human dignity, their existence in many ways have been wiped out in some people's passports, Tlaib said on podcast most recent episode published Friday. So GOP members jumped all over that, and here's what some of them had to say. There's no justification for the twisted and disgusting comments made by Rashida Tlaib just days after the annual Day of Holocaust Remembrance, House Minority Whip Steve Scalise said in a statement. More than 6 million Jews were murdered during the Holocaust. There is nothing calming about that fact. House Republican Conference Chair Liz Cheney, Republican from Wyoming, said Tlaib's comments were sickening and called on Pelosi and House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, Democrat from Maryland, to finally take action against Representative Tlaib and other members of the Democratic caucus who are spreading vile anti-Semitism. And her comments, she goes on and she gets so many things wrong. She makes it sound like Jews going to the area that is Israel, it was a recent thing, a World War II type of thing. Yet Jews have lived in that area for thousands of years, and even the greater migration to that area wasn't something that started in the mid-1900s. There was mass migration there starting in 1880s and onward, and the Palestinians never gave up anything willingly. They boycotted it, they fought against it, and her comments to compare that some of those details is flat out wrong, but to say that the Holocaust gave her a calming feeling, I mean, where is that coming from? That is absolutely outrageous, and something needs to be done about these representatives who do not represent America, do not represent Judeo-Christian values, and it's just outrageous. So finally, folks, it's Movie Monday, and I want to talk about the Avengers briefly. I gave you guys a little time to watch it if you wanted to watch it, because I just want to let you know this will have some spoilers. It'll be brief, but have some spoilers. But I saw it yesterday for the third time. I'm a big movie fan, and I know some of these guys, they're left-wing politics. I'm just sick of it too. But I love comic books. I love superhero movies, and the Avengers Endgame was awesome, absolutely awesome. It was a fitting way to draw closure to a story that's gone on for 11 years, some 22 movies, I believe, and it was almost perfect. There was a couple things that bugged me as far as some of the battle scenes, but in particular, it was the fat Thor that really bugged me. There's talk that Thor will continue in some movies, but this is truly the end of the Avengers as we know it. And both Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America deserved proper send-offs, and 2 of the 3 got it, and Thor didn't. And this whole idea that people handle grief in different ways, you saw it, or doubt, or fear, or things like that, in different ways. You saw it with Tony Stark, who's Iron Man, and Thor. One was mocked through the whole movie, where Tony's was kind of embraced and understood, yet Thor kept being the jokes throughout the movie, and to me, it just wasn't right. They tried to show that, a fat superhero still had strength, but he surely didn't have the strength that he had at the end of Infinity War when he took the power of a star to create his new weapon, and the Avengers themselves even doubted his strength when it came time to determine who was going to wear the new gauntlet and do the next snap. So he wasn't as powerful. He didn't look as powerful in the battle scenes. And to have him be fat at the end of the movie, I just thought was a disservice to Thor. But otherwise, the movie was awesome. Iron Man, what a send out. Captain America as well. I'd highly recommend it. Like I said, I've seen it 3 times. And I encourage you guys to see it as well. So, all right, that's our show for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Tune in Wednesday. Please subscribe and please tell your friends. I'm Bobby Eberly. This is the 13-Minute News Hour.